Hello everyone, this is Crustalmania and welcome back to another video. This is going to be the 7th card that I purchased from TCG Player in terms of purchasing vintage cards in heavily played condition. I'm going to just do a very short context of why I did this. Basically, I found a eBay lot with some of the same cards in the same conditioning as the cards I purchased for this kind of bulk TCG Player purchase. So I wanted to compare how the cards arrived in terms of packaging and the conditioning of the cards as part of the experiment, but for another experiment as well that I want to do with these cards. So the packaging so far for this card seems to be pretty relative to what TCG Player is in terms of like the plain white envelope, but we will see what the heavily played conditioning is. We've seen the variation between the Electrode, which had a picture. I purchased it and it was a bit more damaged than I expected, to the Mewtwo that was in heavily played condition, and it almost looked like it was in like maybe moderately played condition. It was super clean for what it was. So I mean, it can go either way when you're not looking at pictures and you're just kind of buying based off of price. You're not exactly sure what you're going to get in terms of conditioning for the cards, but the Electrode one just surprised me since it had a picture. So I don't know, just a bit interesting there. But anyways, this is the 7th card, I believe, so we are going to see what this card's going to be like. But for the most part, I think 5 out of 6 have had packing slips from TCG Player included with the cards. So that is one thing to note, is a packing slip is going to be included more or less when you buy off TCG Player for the card that you purchase. Seems like a standard or a normal thing to do. So that is good to note from these sellers. Maybe they're the higher ranking sellers, because I bought from various different sellers, not just one seller. So it's all different types of sellers that I purchased from, so they might all do different things, but for the most part. So anyways, this is the card in a smaller envelope, and trying to open this envelope, there is another packing slip, so that is good to note there. And I wanted to take the packing slip and card off screen because the card normally is taped onto the packing slip. So it's easier for me to open it off screen for me to figure out how to get it undone. And there we go. But this is the first card I've seen that was in a team bag, which was actually kind of surprising to me because I figured more of the sellers would use team bags, but I'm glad that they use a team bag. I always appreciate seeing that, as the card may fly out if you don't use a team bag. So anyways, this is the card that was in there and out of the team bag, and it is a base set Gyarados. So this one's also in heavily played condition. Just looking at it through the top loader, again, it does not even look like it's in heavily played condition. Again, when we get out of the top loader, then we definitely will see what the card in terms of conditioning is going to be like. Accidentally hit the camera there, so my mistake there. But this is the Gyarados from base set, and it is quite a nice card. In terms of like the actual condition of the card, there is quite a bit of whitening on the bottom there. There is a dot on the back side, but for the most part, the back is pretty good. Gyarados in itself, the hollow foil doesn't look too scratched. The front doesn't look too bad either. There is a little dent on the top right-hand corner of the card, but overall, the conditioning of this card is really great for what it is. And even though there's the dent in the top right hand corner, I mean, look at the hollow foiling pattern. And the backside, there's a couple dots, but for the most part, like, the conditioning of this card is pretty nice. And Gyarados in itself is a really cool Pokemon. So the just the water pattern, or the what do you call that move? Waterfall? No, Twister. The Twister move in the artwork from Gyarados is pretty cool. Like, really one of the more iconic artworks of Gyarados from what I know in terms of like base set Gyarados. So really a cool card there. And the holofoil pattern really shines there, and the front is really nice for this card. So I mean, it's pretty good for a heavily played card, kind of the typical heavily played conditioning of what I expected. So there's some like silvering on the sides, but for the most part, for a Gyarados, that's pretty good. And the conditioning's pretty good, and overall, just a really clean card actually for a heavily played card. And this is probably so far what I would say 6 out of 7 in terms of like conditioning, being pretty accurate to what the TCG player conditioning kind of pricing is for the sellers. Is pretty accurate so far in terms of conditioning. So honestly, I am very surprised by how clean some of these cards are in terms of like conditioning for these cards coming from TCG player, since like I have no real image to based upon. So really cool there. If you want to get some of these cards in a lower condition to just have in your binder, that is a possibility to do heavily played. Me personally, I may do like moderately played. Maybe lightly or moderately played, depending on what the card is. I don't need gem mint personally, but others are different out there. So definitely an interesting thing if you just want to have these cards and you don't care about conditioning, to do that. But yeah, look at the detail in the cards, like the bubbles and stuff like that from the Twister, or Gyarados using Hydro Pump or something like that. It's just really cool. Always really like this Gyarados artwork, and just a really cool iconic card from base set. What can you say? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. I believe we have 2 or 3 more cards from TCG player coming in, so definitely hoping to do that. So anyways, have a good one everyone. Peace.